So we're back on the banks. Today you've joined me on the Fenland drains. I've had a good look around and I'm in my favourite swim, the one I always like to fish, mainly because if you're going to get anglers down the bottom end, the top end hardly anybody fishes, so most of the time the pike do like to travel down this section. So 24 hours, we're here till tomorrow about 10 o'clock. When I got here I just quickly set everything up and we're ready now for casting the baits out. So I'm going to start off with the float rod, we'll get that out there and then get the other two casts out and then hopefully we can get a few fish throughout this session. Right, so the plan of attack, I'm thinking I'm going to do what I normally do on most of these sessions, have the float out in the middle, rotate it all the way round, this right hand rod down this margin, and then the left hand rod, I might possibly have that tucked away either in the margins or the opposite side of the drain. I'm fishing a very simple float setup, 20-inch long trace with a sardine, same old tactics. So we'll get this one out. And it would be nice to get a decent sized one this session. We did lose quite a few in my last video towards the end of the session, so hopefully we can get a few in the bag. I'm fishing that float probably 6 inches over depth, which is pretty much standard for when I'm float fishing. And what I am going to do with the other two rods, I might actually have popped up baits, put a little bolster insert inside the fish and do that because there's a little bit of debris on the bottom. But before I do anything, I'm going to quickly cast one of these rods out and have a little look around, see what it's like. I've got both the rigs up there, they just need baiting up, but it would be nice to see if there's much debris knocking around here. Because if there's a lot of underlying weed and charred in all bits, the presentation might not be very good for a leisured dead bait. Not too bad, there was a little bit of old rushes and stuff there, so let's have a look here. And what I normally do, I just drag it along the bottom just to try and pick up anything that's there. And that's not too bad. Let's have a look. No, I won't need to pop the baits up. I think that'll be okay on this particular one. The left hand side shouldn't be too bad, to be fair. So, right, I'll get this one baited up and then we'll get it down that right hand side. Oh, here we go, here we go. Popped up dead bait is off. That's been out there for 15 minutes, literally. Let's have a look. Is it pulling? Yep, fish on. And that was popped up. I don't normally fish popped up dead baits, if I'm honest. Oh, not bad. Maybe a upper single. Go on, my son. Let's be having you. That's... Whoa! She wants to get the camera wet. God, they've got some power. Such a funny old world. You go fishing, you have your days where you catch nothing and you're blanking, and then you have your days where you turn up and then you can catch them straight off the bat. So I think it might be a case of, oh, here she goes, here we go. It might be a case of fishing with popped up rigs. It might be enticing the pike, possibly. Right, she looks big enough to show to the camera, I think. Past few videos I haven't been showing much to the camera, but we'll have a look at her. But yeah, lovely. But that is the first one of the session. Really nice fish. Look at them markings. There are. I just, you know, pike fishing has always been one of my favourite sports. It really has. I like carp fishing and everything else, but there's just something about pike. Doesn't matter what shape, what size. They're just a real nice fish to catch. But hopefully later on we can get something really big. So I'll get this little female by the look of it back, and then hopefully we can get a few more in the bag. But we're here till tomorrow morning, so we've got plenty of time left. Such lovely markings on these, they really are. That's the one, darling. Lovely. I mean, look at that water. I don't know if the camera will pick this up, it is quite bright, but the visibility, you can see right to the bottom. These past few sessions have been a nightmare, you can't see anything at all, but that is absolutely perfect. So we've got one in the bag, more than happy with that. The rig I'm actually using on this particular section is this one here. Simple sardine, bolster insert inside the fish, and then a wire coming off with a bait flag holding it onto there. And this bait is a little bit bigger than the other one, but this is going to be up quite high. And we literally had a few niggles on the actual indicator. It was just moving a little bit, playing about. Obviously the fish was grabbing onto the bait, and then eventually it went for it. Now, my last session, we did lose a couple of fish, and it's because I was fishing on the clutch. There was a couple of turns on the clutch, line was being pulled. The fish, they get fish for all the time, so they're going to feel resistance and drop them. So if there's lots of debris, I can't help it. But on these particular sessions, it's perfect. And believe it or not, the big pike in these drains don't get caught that often. It's very rare they come out, so you don't really need to worry about those particular fish. It's mainly the smaller ones, the mid doubles and the low doubles. So I'll get this back out, same spot again. This left-hand side of this swim is really good. It does produce quite a few fish. And this season so far, it has done quite a few bites, so get that there. Not too deep. The drain's up from my last session, probably 7-8 inches, but the clarity of water is perfect. It is like, there's a tiny bit of colour to it, a little tinge, but I can see all the way down to the bottom in probably 3.5, 4 foot of water. So these pike are seeing these dead baits popped up, and it might tempt me to put one on that right hand rod as well. But yeah, one in the bag. Happy days. Right, let's try this underwater camera. The company called Westing Camera, like I said, sent me this ages ago, and the visibility of water has just been terrible. I've set the stop knot on the actual rod to bring it a little bit more shallow. This is going to be about 3 foot under the surface. So you've got the float, you've got the camera connected on it, it's all on the wire trace, and then you've got a quick link there on another wire trace, so it's all fish friendly. I've just quickly cast the camera out to see what it looks like, and it looks fine. So believe it or not, the drain started running off. It's slowly pushing that way, so we'll have half an hour just playing around with this, see if we can capture any fish. We might even see fish going for the bait and not even touching it. You never know. Right, as you can see, the float has cocked itself perfectly upright. So all I'm going to do is just play around with this for half an hour and see what happens. It'd be lovely to get some action on the camera for the pike taking the bait, and that's what the guys did send it me for. An underwater footage of pike taking the bait, you just can't beat it. So we'll have half an hour playing around with this and then see what happens. I think you've got probably, I think it's 3 to 4 hour battery life on these. It's fully charged, so I'm going to try my best to get a take. But the water at the moment, in the margins here, it is a little bit darker, but with the sunlight, this bait moving through, we might get some action. So let's see what happens. So I think now it's just a case of, I'll recast every hour and then just play it by ear, see if any fish come through the swim. But witching hour on here, that's the time I do fancy catching them on. And nighttime bites as well. Conditions look prime for catching a few at nighttime maybe. That would be nice. And then tomorrow morning, hopefully we can get a few in the bag as well. And then we'll go from there. If we catch some nice fish and we get quite a few of them tonight or later on, then it might encourage me to stay on and do maybe another 24-hour session, because I was supposed to be doing 48 hours on the river, but there was no chance that was going to happen. The river was just an absolute state. It really was. The weather was nice, but the amount of rain we had, I think it was Storm Ashley, the back end of that. We had loads of rain from that, and then it did affect the rivers. I avoided the Trent at all costs because that's a tricky river on its own, the actual stretch that I like to fish. So I thought, come down to the drains this morning, have a look, and lo and behold, it looks absolutely glorious. There's not 1 ounce of murkiness to this water. I think now it's just a case of get the kettle on. I'm going to do a recast in about 15 minutes, and then when these light levels start dropping, I'll be a bit more confident for a bite, because it has been glorious today, really nice weather. But for the fishing, it hasn't been the best conditions, if I'm honest. So hopefully when the low light levels kick in, we'll have a bit more joy. Right, fish is taken. Let's go for it. Oh, please say it's a big pike. No, it's probably a small one. When you pop your baits up, you do get a little bit more finicky. You get a bit more finicky bites. Then if it's a decent sized pike or not, I haven't seen much of it, to be honest. But yeah, you get them finicky bites where he starts taking the bait. But I do like putting the bolster inserts into the fish. Not a bad looking fish, maybe, I don't know, upper single, possibly. It's got a big head on it. No, only a small one. Only a small baby, but... This is what we like to see. Full of energy. When you see a 20-pounder do that, that's when your heart starts racing. And he's only just hooked in the scissors. As you can see, there's a bolster stick. That's why I put the bait flag on, so it doesn't come off the actual trays. Come on then, mate. Only a small one. Quite a chunky small fish, though. That's the one. Right, so fish number 2. A lovely little pike there, nice little female. This was on the right hand rod, this was on the popped up dead baits. I've got both of them on there now. There is quite a bit of underlying weeds, so I've decided to pop the baits up. And the middle rod is leisured on the bottom, that's on a float. So, I mean, look at them markings, absolutely stunning, like tiger stripes on there. But not very big, but they can only get bigger. So what I'll do, I'll get this beautiful creature back, and then I'll get that bait casted out again. And then hopefully with these low light levels kicking in, we might be with a chance for a bigger, monstrous pike from this drain. But yeah, happy days. Wicked. Right, darling, go and tell your mum to pay me a visit later. Could really do with her coming along. That's the one. Look at them markings. What a lovely fish. Let's see what we've got. I've got lots of small sardines in this pack, which is a bit of a rarity. Normally I do get the larger ones. I think that one might be okay. You've got to be careful with these because the bellies get really soft quite quickly. So I'm going to use the same trace that I used before. So I've got the bait flag back. I've got that back. That's why one of the main reasons I put wire on this tag. So we'll treble's nice and sharp still. Just got to be careful when I go to put the actual insert in the fish, because these are very soft, very pungent baits. They've got lots of blood and oils coming through. So right, that's perfect. A little bit of a kink in the trace, but I'm not too bothered about that. It won't make an ounce of difference. Right, that's like that. That's perfect. So now is the magic part. I've got to be careful I don't split the fish. You will get a little bit of split on the bottom of the belly of the fish, but I've got to be dead careful. I don't do too much damage. Just take my time. Right, that's perfect, absolute perfect. So treble's in there, and the wire over the hook point. Quite slippery these are. And then a simple bait flag over the point. And that is pretty much it. That's going to catch us an absolute monstrous pike tonight. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. I'm using 2.5 ounce leads, which I think's more than good enough on here. If there was a lot of flow to the drain, I'd increase the weight just a little bit. So we've got 2 rod lengths out on the left, floats on near the opposite margin. This one's going to go probably, I don't know, 6 foot off this margin down this right hand side. That's nice. So we're coming up to about 6 o'clock and it's the witching hour now. This is my favourite time for catching a fish on just about any venue that I ever fish, and it's looking absolutely prime. There's a little bit of debris coming through, but not enough to pull the rods or cause problems. I've got the baits popped up obviously, so we're not going to have any issues for that. I'll change the float for a leisure stem in probably 20 minutes just before it gets dark, but we've literally got probably 15-20 minutes and it's going to be pretty much pitch black. There has been quite a few small fish coming through the surface. Then half an hour after they started showing themselves, the rods went off. I mean, there's some just down here now. They're scattered all along the surface, so hopefully there might be a few more pike coming through. Tonight wise, if I catch anything small, I'll just do a show and tell. If we get anything decent, then obviously I'll show it to the camera, but we've got no rain. Every session I've done on here for the past, well, since the start of the pike season this year, it's been raining every session and it's literally cut every session short. I think it's time for a bit of evening food. We've got bait fish in the area everywhere on the surface. I've seen a small couple of pike just here in this mid channel, and it's, yeah, I'm fairly confident for a fish tonight. So without further ado, let's see what we can catch tonight. Oh yeah, fish on, fish on. Oh, we have had some really strange takes this past. Oh no, has it come off? Or is it a small fish? No, it's a small one. Pretty much the average stamp on this drain. Go on mate, go on mate, go on. Oh, we're just having a bit of evening food then. Again, it was another twitchy take. Picks the bait up and then starts moving slowly. Come on, little fella. Oh, it's cooling down a bit now. Right, I'm not going to get the main camera out for this little fella. We'll just get him back, but only just hooked again. It just shows you these fish, they do get caught quite a bit. Come on, little fella, we've got you. Probably about 7 or 8 pound. Right, he's been rested for 5 minutes. As you can see, he's ready to go. Only a little babber. Right, mate. Give me a minute and I'll send you back. That's the one, mate. Lovely. Well, good morning, and it's about 8:30. Last night was a bit of a pain, if I'm honest. We had lots of debris coming through the drain, then I was recasting every 2 hours, so ended up sleeping over. I normally set my alarm for 6:30, got up about 8 o'clock, made a quick coffee, and then had a look at the drain. There's not much visibility to the water at the moment, but I think we are due a recast now. I've got probably an hour left, and then I'm gonna have a little think whether to stay on or maybe move on to a different venue. But yeah, very quiet. We had that fish, I can't remember what time it was, that small one. I think it was it 10 o'clock? I can't remember. I'm in a bit of a daze at the moment because, like I say, last night, every 5 minutes the rods were just going off with the debris and whatnot, so I think it's now time for a recast. Simple sardine. I love this presentation, I really do. It's not as obtrusive as if you've got poly balls on there. Not to say it won't catch your fish, but I think it's just personal preference more than anything. But the baits are very, very soft. So you've got to be dead careful, you can split them quite easily. I mean, you could even split them on the cast, but I'm not casting too far with the drain being quite narrow. So, get this one out, gently just cast this. I'm gonna go for the same area as yesterday. That's perfect. And I'm gonna make sure we use drop-off indicators. As you can see, there's a bit of wind on the drain. It's actually going this way this time, but I reckon that'll be all right. Well, everything's in sitch. All the rods cast. Oh, yeah, we've got one on the float. I've literally just cast that right hand rod out. Right, here we go, here we go, here we go. Go on, my son. Yep, fish on. Please say it's a decent size one. No, it's a small one. Oh, would you Adam and Eve it? Only a small one. And this is what I was talking about earlier on. There could be pike in the area. Fresh baits. Only a small one. But it's encouraging if they've been hanging around, not bothered about the baits, and then all of a sudden they come in. Right. That's very encouraging. This is exactly how it went last time. Right, little fella, let's get you in. Well, I'm going to end the video here, and I think catching these fish fairly consistently, I'm going to stay for another 24 hours. I've got a feeling that there might be a big gill knocking around, I really do. I could be wrong, but I just fancy another 24 hours on here. So I'm going to end the video here. It's a lovely pike, fish number 4. It's been a fairly consistent session, especially on the drains, with the conditions we've had with the rain for the past few days. But all in all, I'm over the moon with what we've caught so far. So we'll end the video here, start fresh, and hopefully we can get some big gills. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Right, mate, back you go. That's the one.